restore you as long as your core is still in good condition. So sometimes he takes the part and he works on it. Sometimes it's an old generator. Sometimes it's an old starter. Sometimes it's an entire motor. But that's all right, because the master craftsman, he knows that he can rebuild it. He knows that he can restore it. He knows that he can reclaim it. As long as he can start with the core. Would you smile at your neighbor and say, neighbor, let's start with the core. I won't keep you too long, but I'll close when I tell you that the core. I found out something, that the core of the Church of Jesus Christ is still in working condition. Am I right about it? There are some things about the Church of the Living God that you will never be able to replace. At best, we ought to try to restore them. Would you look at somebody, I promise I'm through now, would you look at somebody and tell them, stop trying to replace it. Just work to restore it. And the church can be restored to its former glory as long as the core is in working condition. For I heard David say, create in me a clean heart and renew within me a right spirit. Restore to me the joy of thy salvation and uphold me with thy free spirit. Touch somebody and say, if the core can be restored, if the core can be reclaimed, if the core can be rescued, then I pray that before we leave here this week, we will examine several aspects at the core. And I pray that after we check them all out, we'll find out that the core still works. Because I believe that the core can be restored. Number one, if the church would just get back to what the prophet said. We got to get back to being good news people. Touch somebody and say, we got to restore the preaching of the gospel as a core value in the church. If the church can just get back to being Bible believing, gospel preaching, good news people. Tell your neighbor, stop trying to replace the preaching of the gospel. Just work to restore the preeminence of the gospel. For we are not ashamed. Okay, I thought I'd get some preachers to help me. We are not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It is the power of God unto salvation. Is there anybody that believes that? But number two, I tried this one, and I know that number two will work, because we must restore the blood as a core value in the church. You didn't hear what I said? In my own church, I stopped a long time ago trying to remove and replace the blood. And I know just something that the Spirit told me. I need to work on restoring the relevance of the blood. Because in this modern generation, we got too many bloodless churches. We got too many bloodless bishops. We got too many beautiful buildings with no blood on them. There are too many people who want to be blessed without getting any blood on them. But we must reclaim the blood as a core value. Am I doing all right in the church? Because without the shedding of blood, there could be no remission of sin. And one of the reasons why I know that the core can be reclaimed is because somebody will help me when I say that the blood still works. I need every preacher to raise your head back and just holler one time and tell somebody that the blood still works. There's still power, wonder-working power in the presence of people. Some help came in. Precious blood of the Lamb. But then number three, I'm through, y'all. We must restore faith as a core value in the church. We gotta have faith, but we don't have finances. We gotta have faith, but we don't have friends. We got to have faith, gonna have a strong finish. You got to have strong faith. But because without faith, it is impossible to please the Lord. Because he that cometh to the Lord must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Would you shake your neighbor's hand? Shake it like this. Go and shake it off and say, neighbor, oh neighbor, I made up my mind. I'm holding on, and I won't let go of my faith. I do, but I can't get out of my head the testimony. I heard it last week of the 10-year-old boy in Atlanta, Georgia, by the name of Willie Murray. You heard the story. He was playing in his yard when he was pushed into an automobile and abducted by a kidnapper. And for 3 hours, the abductor drove Willie Murray around. For 3 hours, he drove Willie Murray around. Couldn't figure out what to do with him. He drove him around for 3 hours. And after 3 hours, he let the boy go unmolested. Tell me why, Willie Murray, tell me why did he let you go unmolested? Because Fox News said for 3 hours after he was abducted, Willie Murray kept singing, every praise is to our God, every word of worship on one accord, every praise is to our God. No doubt the man said, Willie, you better shut up. Willie, I'm gonna kill you. But Willie kept saying, every praise is to our God, every word of worship on one accord, every praise is to our God. No doubt the man said, Willie, you never gonna see your mama again. But no doubt in hour number 3, Willie just started singing, God, my Savior, God, my healer, God, my Redeemer. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I'm through when I tell you, is there anybody in the building? You know that the devil tried to abduct you. You know that the devil tried to